So, as I say, try to keep a mood of seriousness, not of entertainment. And in this retreat, I want to give place for a few questions from people. I hear you, yeah?
Beloved Prabhuji, is there such a thing as a pure mind?
Oh. Mind is impurity. As long as there is a mind, cannot be purity. As long as there is thought, thinking, acting from that thinking, from your ideas, concepts, conclusions. As long as the mind gives you the ideas about yourself, there is image. Even more than that, as long as there is mind, cannot be love, cannot be peace. Mind means unawareness, and without awareness or consciousness is impossible. For example, take peace. How can be peace of mind? When the mind is lack of peace. The love of the mind is one of many possibilities. There is love, yeah, you love, but you can be jealous, envious, cruel, insensible. So, or there is mind, or there is purity. Or there is mind, or there is peace, or silence, but both of them. With the mind can be certain relaxation, certain tranquility, but it's temporal. Mind is impurity, and as long as you identify with the mind, there is impurity. Impurity means you're not clean, internal cleaning. Not a moral thing, but more like concepts, ideas, conclusions. You're not free to look what is as it is, but you look life as life seems to you. You don't see people as they are, but as they seem to you, according to your past. You judge, compare. You cannot be aware. With the mind, there is no consciousness. Mind is perfect, but as a survive mechanism, that is good for survive. But surviving and living is totally different things. To live life is not only to survive. Survive is breathing, working, walk, but talking. But life is much more than breathing. The fact that somebody breathes doesn't mean he is really alive. Mind prevents you from live deeply, intensely, with all your preconceived ideas about yourself, about society, about the world. How can you surrender to this adventure of life? Mind look for security, and life is insecurity. It's not a long time ago people think that through the mind and the senses we can perceive reality. But the fact is that the senses and the mind are filters that prevent you to see what is as it is. The mind is not busy with the reality. The mind is a mechanism that is busy to protect you from whatever can damage you. But to look reality can be hurt, can be sad, can be painful. So mind will tell you stories that you can sleep better. Mind care about your sleep. So you see people go and can do a lot of damage, but they elaborate stories and justifications, and you don't understand how is it possible that can live in such a self-illusion and believe their own stories. So the mind is in all the mission of the mind, the role of the mind is to protect you, and she will tell you whatever stories you need in order to continue to live with yourself. You can be the present. So mind tell you stories that have nothing to do with reality. Yes.
Beloved Prabhuji, what is your approach to sadhana?
Sadhana is spiritual practice. To those who don't know, practice japa, hatha yoga, practice meditation, practice likita japa. You can practice so many things. But one thing should be very clear, that through a practice you can never achieve or reach something. You have in Vedanta the practice and the realization itself. Brahma Vidya, Yoga Vidya. Yoga Vidya is the path of practice. But it's very clear that the practice is in order to clean yourself, to purify yourself. In other words, to make yourself ready, to prepare yourself. Brahma Vidya is the thing itself. Enlightenment can happen. You cannot produce enlightenment. You cannot create a Buddha. That is the story of Buddha. His father did anything. He gave all the situation, the tools, the efforts, the surround in order to make his son a king. But he became a Buddha. So practice situations cannot bring you enlightenment. Practice japa and whatever practice you do will not give as a result enlightenment. No way. Practice, the benefit of practice is that only create the conditions, the circumstances, the situation. Many times I say it's like when you go to sleep, you cannot make sleep. You cannot practice sleep. Say, now I will sleep. What you can do is to create the conditions, to close the windows, a good bed, silence, to put music, to drink a glass of milk, whatever. But the sleep fall on you by itself, by its own accord. Same thing, enlightenment is like a flu, it's something that happens by its own accord. Life following you is not a result of a practice. If it was the result of some practice, the sub-product of some practice, that practice was more important than enlightenment. If the result of a practice is God, so the practice was more important than God. No. It's like love. Many times I put that example. How you make love, how you fall in love. There is a method, a technique. No. But if you want somebody to fall in love, you can give situations. You can invite a person to a restaurant. You can put candles. Most romantic people, I don't know, to a walk in the beach in the night. And can happen in that situations. It's difficult to fall in love in some. So that is what you create in your practice. You create the situation, the mood. But then everything is in the hands of life. Everything can fall in you, the divine fall in you. And everything happens. But sadhana has not the importance that many people do, that they do it because, what we can do? We sail the water, we sail whatever we can, we sail. Yeah, it's a society where whatever you can sail, you can do a business. And from sadhana, you can do a business. Yeah, I give you the mantra, I give you the sadhana, I give you the practice, I give you the mandala, I give you the meditation technique, and you pay me. Directly or indirectly, you pay me. I give you this, that, so that you can do some business. Means, God is like for sale. You pay me, I give you the technique, and you will be enlightened and you receive God. God is not for sale. It's for rent, but not for sale. You need to pay daily. The connection. So, sadhana is important, but should be put in the right place. What we can talk about? You have another question? Other question? Big paper. Oh my God.
We learn that from many spiritual paths that we are in essence divinity and God. And at the same time, in the mainstream psychology, when the person thinks that they are God, we recognize it as a grandiosity and psychological disease. And then what happens, there's this paradox and inferiority complex that arises.
Yeah.
We keep thinking that we are constantly very little, small, incapable.
Yeah.
And it creates this distance, and we actually judge and reject the divine. If we feel it even, it's like, okay, I must be sick psychologically.
Very good, Yeah. If you think you are Napoleon, you are sick. But if you are Napoleon, means, yeah. The problem is not if you think you are God. The problem is not if you think you are God. The problem is what the idea you have about God. If you think you are Krishna and you appear with a flute, yeah. Believe me, if one disciple here say he is the Kodesh Baruch Hu and he talk in Hebrew or the Messiah or the Hindu God or the Christian God, I will send it to you for sure. That is one thing. Or even talk with God, same thing. Means nonsense. Of course, problems, some disorder there. But when you have a basic understanding what you mean by God, what you mean by God, that is not somebody that you can be, is everybody. Is the essence. What do you mean the essence? Is not the wave. It's a wave thing, a small wave thing that she is the ocean. She is crazy. If a small wave thinks that she is a bubble or a big wave, this is a problem. But the realization that the ocean, the wave, and the bubble are water, that is different. The essence of the wave, the essence of the bubble, the essence of the ocean and lakes is water. Same thing. You are God. I have to look into it, so sorry. I don't prepare lectures, I only look. To be God means that this that passed through you is consciousness. Here, experiences. Experience is consciousness. Without consciousness cannot be experience. So what happens through here, hearing, see, look, talk, touch, is constant consciousness. Yeah, but a consciousness, or God, that is contracted. Whoop, a contraction of me. I am psychologist, I am doctor, I am yogi, I am guru, I am this, or I am God. This contraction thing, I am God. But if you begin to understand, try to understand that the frame is not so narrow, not only me, that bird, that chant, is another experience, and his consciousness is me, and another music that you hear and the colors that you see are an extension of consciousness. And you jump out of this small frame, you will see that everything is an experience. This microphone, the color, the texture, the form. Nobody never can tell you or see or a microphone. This is not an object in front of you. This is color, touching. This is a form. What it means, this is an experience. And at the end there is no microphone. Look for the microphone. Where is the microphone? This is not microphone. This is metal, and this is not microphone. This is a group of here metal of colors. But the microphone, where is the microphone? Here you can find color, metals, everything, but only one thing, not microphone. This table, you can take, you see a table, an object. First of all, you see color, texture, means experience. This is not an object, this is an experience. Experience means consciousness. Consciousness. So this is consciousness, the same that passed through you, capped, perceived, is an experience. And here is not a table. Where is the table? You see here is wood. Here is pieces of something, and here is marble. And this is brown color. Where is the table? Where is the table? There is nothing here, nothing that you can say, this is the table. This is a group of experiences that become together, and you call it table. But here you can find wood, colors, and a lot of things, but not a table. It's not something. In this life, nothing is something. And everything you see, there is, in a tree, there are leaves, there are green color, there is wood, but only one thing there is not there, a tree. Where is the tree? And when you see it yourself, me, where are you? Where are you? In your finger, in your leg, in your eye, in your head, in your brain. Where are you? And you're going found. There is bones, there is skin, there is blood, there is brain, there is mind, there is a lot of things, but only one thing is not there, you. The only thing that is not there, where you are, where I am. So consciousness is not a phenomenon that belongs to time and space. So consciousness in this world of experiences, I look at you and you are for me what? An experience. Your hair, your eyes, beautiful eyes, your form, your voice, your question. You are an experience. And if you look at the world in that way, you will go in life and you will not see any more people. That is what people mean, everything is God, everywhere is God. They don't mean that Krishna appears from everywhere. You go in the world and only you see experiences. My father experience, my mother experience, my friend, my couple experience. Everything is an experience. In other words, everything is consciousness, because without consciousness it's impossible to experience. And that is life. An experience of consciousness. This moment is an experience. And everything you see around. So then when you see that you are not somebody or something. What you are, an experience of ideas, concepts, walking, see. Think about your father. Visualize it. What you visualize, who is for you your father? Memories, moments, certain words. You will see it's not a person, it's an experience. And your mother, and your school, and your story is a long list of experiences, voices, moments, colors, consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Everything is God. So if I am another experience, as me, as this personality, as this character, it's not the ego. No, it's an experience. So who I really are, consciousness. And what that means, I am God. Aham Brahmasmi, I am conscious. That is the recognition of consciousness. In that recognition, I realize myself as consciousness. That is, I am God. But if somebody thinks he is God and she is not God because I am only God, that is for your care. No, when you realize that you are consciousness, you are God, you realize together with that everything is God. There is only consciousness. This is a play of consciousness. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Beloved Prabhuji, from what I understand from your teaching, love is happiness. But why when I'm in the peak of a relationship, I experience sadness?
Somebody identify with it? Some way. Yeah. Love is happiness. Is happiness, of course. And everybody experiences it in some way or other. What we call, what Swami Prabhupāda called attachment. Okay? And Govinda to attachment. But let's call it love in a very basic level, but it's love. What you can do. When a child say papa, papa, that is talking. Yeah, it's not a poem of Pablo Neruda, but it's talking, what you can do. And you say attachment is bad, it's like to say to the child, my papa, let me talk. Means is a level of talking. So when you love somebody, it's happiness. Of course it's happiness. But you will find always sadness. And you don't know why. Tears will fall from your eyes. And you don't understand what's going on. But you love. And you're happy. And the other person will say, why you cry? And you will say, of happiness, but deep inside you're sad. How can be? And here, in order to understand this subject, you need to understand a few things. In love, even in attachment, in a relationship, what really happens and why this attracts you is because you begin to think about the good of the other. You begin to be happy when the other is happy. You forget your ego. And that is the big joy. Because then you can see in your life what is really, really important. You look at life and you see everything in order. Wow. What is really important in life? What is essential? And what is meaningless? And in that moment you are so happy because you forget your ego. You begin to live for other. You jump into the other. And then this aspiration, desire for unity, aspiration. And then, in the best, the sadness begins. And after a while, all of you know, they argue. The small problems, no? The routine that will come doesn't matter. Now, if new, fantastic, but wait for it, will come one day. Romeo and Julia Shakespeare is amazing. He cut it when they die. Can you imagine Romeo? No, where is the food? He say, you come back from work and you don't. What? You understand? So what's going on? What happens? Pay attention. In attachment, in coupleship love, in the beginning, there is a forgetfulness of the ego. And that is amazing. You feel like God looks at you from every corner. You feel the magic of the stars. You don't need nothing to be so happy with your beloved. Even you and him, you don't need people, you don't need fame, you don't need honor, you don't need money, you don't need, doesn't matter. You can be happy, both of you, alone in some corner in the nature, and you don't need nothing. And everything is so godly. But only one problem. What is the problem? That you only forget your ego. And the ego will come back. The ego should be not forgotten, but eliminated. You can forget a problem, but that doesn't mean the problem is finished. So these love relations and the happiness come from a time of forgetfulness of the ego. And there are couples, because then the ego come back, what to do? They continue to live for years on the basis of that days that we was in forgetfulness of our ego. We travel only with trams and with $10 in the pocket, and we were so happy. And today we have a mansion, and we feel so boring. You know, we did sex in the beach, in the sand, and we were so happy. And today we have bags of Napoleon and everything is so, everything went. But they will live together 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, but everything on the basis of those days, the good old days, when for a moment we forget the ego. So what to do? You forget your ego. It's a good beginning. But you should continue for meditation. You should continue. Nothing can save you from the spiritual path of looking for the elimination, eradication, transcending the ego. Don't allow the ego come back. Never. It's a good beginning. That is the reason that I am not totally against attachment or coupleship. It's not totally against, but only as a good beginning. But from there, the next step is the important one. If you take it to meditation, it's good you forget, but now you go to eliminate, eradicate. But if you don't do that, the ego will come back, and sometimes more strong than before. To what? To blame. Everything was destroyed. I remember my ego because of you. It was beautiful. But you arise back my ego. And the other person feels, no, it's you the one who promised to me a paradise, and I felt so good. And now see, the routine, everything is boring. First step, love coupleship, but continue from there, don't stop going to the meditation. And as long as both don't go for the spiritual path, for elimination of the ego, will be the same trip of all our parents. I don't want anybody to think that he talk only for me. No, all our parents. Is the way. See, we talk about to be God and all that. Many things in my life are rare, weird. But the most weird thing, that was until I was 8 years old. I was a very normal child, go to school, but I was very imaginative. I have a every game I did, the tables I put opposite, and I was a pirate, and was a sheep. And I ran after the ducks like they was Indians. I was a cowboy, and everything was like that. And one day, I like very much cars, small cars, to play with them. I put them a cable and went with them at home, like to see the car walk. And then I went to the streets after, and I began to do around all our street. I go with the car, and I like to do big trips, like from here to there. And from there, I imagine, because I cannot play when I go to the school, I cannot go with a car. So I say, how I can use a small car when I go to school. And I think I will be the car. I am a car, imagine. And then I go, and when I go to school, sit in the bus, I was a machine, like a tractor. And then I think, but wait a moment, I am the driver. What is the driver? I am the driver. Inside I sit. Where? Somewhere. Somewhere in some. And then I develop in the center of the body, in the center, I am the driver. So I began to go like that. And when I wake up, I always say, okay, I am the driver. Do the order, I wake up. I sit, and then I play with it. Like in the school, I was sitting in front of the teacher like Hanaya, like yeah. And I look. I come back home, and even I began to see people. My parents see them, and when I see them, I open my eyes, and I was like the driver inside. That was the game. And one night that I will never forget, my parents say, go to bed. Okay, I go to bed. Around 10, maybe in the night. And I sit in my bed and I close the light. I remember, I come and I didn't turn on the light. I only enter and I sit in my bed. And I like the driver, I put and then in a moment, when I wanted to be very deep the driver, I am the driver, very deep. And I was totally centrated in the driver, not in the car. And everything in me is part of the car. Then in a moment, 7 lights from somewhere in the night, from the night, come like a line and enter from here. And in a moment, the mind, senses, everything jump back like this. My mind stopped to be in contact with the body, and now she is looking at consciousness, contact with consciousness. And from there something take me back, and I saw all the universe, everything, trillions and quadrillions of planets and stars. Wow, where I am. And then more back to an immense ocean of light, And I was not there. I was that ocean of light, vibrant with love, with existence, with peace. Wow. And in a moment, come back the universe, beautiful, everything, and simultaneously everywhere, in every planet, everywhere simultaneously. And then back to the mind in that direction, and the mind go back. And I open my eyes. What's that? It's a child, 8 years old. I ran to the mirror, I look, I was red of happiness. So I never felt happy like that. And I ran to my parents. I think they sit and I say, Father, what? Now I know, because I see the big people for sure, they know everything. I say, the universe is inside. Everything is inside. All the planets is inside, the stars, everything. They say, what? You have a dream, what do you think about? And the ocean of silver light is so adorable, is so beautiful. What do you talk about? My mother say, maybe he was in the room and passed an airplane and he saw the light there. And then I understand. That is the moment that my parents stopped to be Superman and Batman. They don't know. From that day, I went to school and I remember I asked my teacher of Spanish, grammatic. He used to teach us literature and all that, and he say, I have a question. All the children went. I say, yes. We was near the blackboard. It was so important moment for me, and I eat him until here. He stand. I say, what? And I say, how we can go back to this ocean of light that is inside of us? He say, what? Say, all the stars and the moon, everything is in us. And I was so happy. He says, sorry, I don't understand what you talk about. You never happens to you, I say, no. I don't know what is that. I don't understand. And then for me, from that day, I understand in the school, the teachers, people who know everything, they don't know too. And then something fell in me. I began to disrespect everything, schools, teachers, parents. Wow, I am in a world of people who don't know the secret. Nobody sees it. But I had another problem. I cannot go back. How I can go back? And I remember I began to develop. I dream, in a vision, I dream a mirror. I can look myself, not the body, myself, and doesn't work. And I went to the stadium when I was a child. I used to go more advanced, 12 years old. I used to go to the stadium of soccer. I like soccer. But I went 2 hours before. And then I entered to the field and I sit in the middle. Maybe here I can go back to the center, and nothing happens. And I went, then I began to read books. As you see, I read books. Because my uncle Jorge, he was a philosopher, and one day he talked with me, and by chance I say, yeah, I had some experience, but I was so disappointed. He talked about big philosophy. And one day in the car, he stopped because he has a big factory. So for a moment he stopped to think, and I was sitting with him, and he said, and what do you think about this? And for some reason he talked about God and what is the concept of God. And I was totally, when I say, someday happens to me something interesting when I was 8 years old, and he said, what? And I told him. I said, what do you think? And he said, I wish something like that. And then I understand, wow, one will catch. He said, happens to you? He said, no, but I know what you talk about. that is enlightenment. You touch it for a moment without knowing what it is. It's amazing. And come back, they, no, never come back. And then I continued to read and to study, and I went to the church. I talked with the priest, and you know the story. I walk, until practiced transcendental meditation. I did a teacher's training course. I practiced mantra meditation, mandala meditation, kundalini, and that. And I was in Hare Krishna and Shivananda and meet whoever, rabbis, whatever you want. And I meet rabbis and gurus and priests like my library, you can imagine. And one simple day in Haifa, I come back in the bus. You was in Yotam, and I come back in the bus. A simple day. A day that I gave up the searching. Because everything I did. But I meditate daily. But I meditate, sit and meditate more and more and more, because it was more like a custom. It was not anymore a real seeking. Was a custom to meditate, because I meditate so much. And that day I come to Yotam, I remember I entered to my room, and I remember, never forget, Swami Ramananda order my closet, there, work, around. I put a pillow and I sit. And from the moment I close my eyes, something happens. I remember I put a melody that will go with me forever. A very simple melody. It's not tan, tan, tan. No. I like to meditate with some music. So I put a simple melody. And that melody comes with such magic. From the moment I close my eyes with my, I don't know how you call them. Huh? Earphone. With the melody, I closed my eyes, and everything was like magic. But I didn't look for something. I didn't expect something. Really surprised. And the silence was different. The silence was different. You have that melody, no? And that is the melody. And the silence was different. The space was different, and you see in front of you your body, your thoughts, your emotions, your I, this idea of I. And there is only witnessing, only. And the ocean of light. And the happiness, Then I practice, but not because I want to achieve something. I practice because I cannot separate from something. I enjoy it. 8 hours a day, Swami Ramananda say, wow, 8 hours a day. People who think I practice in order to achieve is wrong. I simply enjoy 11 hours a day, 11 hours only to enjoy the back home. And everything is consciousness. And this is the song. This is the melody. It's not that I hear it every day, but I keep it with such love. That simple melody was in that moment, and I hear it for a long time. I went out to the street. Nothing was new, but everything changed. Everything from that moment began to be so fresh. And then the development began. And every single moment from that day is to fly more and more and more and more and more, and will never end the development. You become that. When you touch the witnessing, that is to be God. When you touch the origin of the silver light, I don't know if somebody understands what they talk about, but anyway, the silver light, the light, not like this world, as I say when I was a child, is not this light. This is not light, this is darkness, or a dissipation of darkness, but not light. I reach the witness. This takes time, because first the mind is in direction of the witness slowly, but then to touch the witness, you realize you are the witnessing. You are it. It's you. It's you. It's you enjoy of yourself. Crazy. But you enjoy of yourself and enjoy the beauty, the happiness, the bliss. And then this begin to go out. It's like the beloved go, and I pay attention that people, so nice. And they say, wow, you can see it? No, but we feel. So I say, wow. And always I do the double, like you and me, not only I am the light, but the devotee. And I always say, you see, they like you. They like you. Like yesterday, I was so tired, but I say, okay, I have nothing to say, take the control. Shh. And people feel it. But people are not in love with me, or feel me, or it's my presence, or my Shakti, please. It's that. And I only put it on the table, enjoy it. It's not me, as you, no. It's something else. This is not my presence. This is the presence of life, of existence. And only enjoy it, enjoy it. And like me, from 8 years old, 37 years, only don't forget, at least don't forget that is something really, really, really important in life. Life is not all these important things. All of you know for sure, deep in the core of your being is a door to an infinite, eternal ocean of light, silver light of happiness, joy. You are everything what you want, and that waits for you. You can call it as you want, doesn't matter. And that light is love, the real love. And this presence you feel is not my presence, is not me. Is that live in the core of your being. And when you feel it's only, you feel this calling from somewhere deep. That is what you feel. I wish all of you to realize one day, in this incarnation or future incarnation, doesn't matter, but to go back home, not continue to looking after another person, another place, go back home, because you feel at home, finally, after so many incarnations of looking after something or somebody.